built on hope.
And welcome to another episode of Red Dead Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Alberto Calderon, and look who's back, Tori over here, the co-host, LT1 Kenobi, finally, and very special guest from the Friends of the Force podcast. It's Brad, it's Sarah. Thank you guys for joining us today. How is everyone doing? Surviving this week of the Acolyte, the support group that we have today.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting us on this episode so we could have this group therapy because we definitely need it. No, but seriously, thanks so much for having us. Doing well. Excited to be talking about Star Wars with you guys today.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, when I kind of throw out a tweet last month or something, hey, kind of making a list for people to come on the show, you guys were one of the first to respond. I said, yeah, I gotta get them on the show. So thank you for being here.
Awesome.
Oti, you also, how you doing? It's been a while. It's been like a month since we last talked.
How am I doing? I'm disappointed, Alberto. No spoiler warning, no nothing. We just start out with a massive spoiler, and like maybe you stumble into the show and Jeki's dead and Jason Mendoza is a Sith.
It's like
very disappointed.
Well,
things have gone to hell since I left.
Yeah, well,
I'm so sorry you guys are here to see this.
It's your fault. You should know. You know how things are here. I keep spoilers out for one day and then.
Yeah,
you tell me to be better than the official account, but once the official account starts doing out spoilers, I'm like, everything's. I know.
Yeah, I think we also hit that week where, like, I think there are spoilers that people know can stay hush hush for a couple of days, and I feel like this was the week where it was like, sorry, if you didn't see it Tuesday night, you're kind of out of like we've just opened the floodgates. So it's like the Red Wedding. It's over. It's Soj over. Like we're out. Cat's out of the bag.
It's
Yordver.
Yeah, I kind of same thing is I see what Twitter is doing. If just one or two people are putting spoilers, okay, let's keep quiet. But this one is 9:45, so like everything's online. So I try to hold it.
Yeah.
I'm terrified because next week when the show launches, I'll be on a plane, so I probably won't be able to watch. So. I'll probably have to pay for Wi-Fi just to.
Oh no!
You're like,
got that chill money. We told you gotta.
Oh, I could probably expense that.
Yeah,
I could probably expense that. Yep.
We'll talk about it more off air. Make sure you've got that all paperwork set.
Put it on the Michael Theodore Mouse rewards card.
All right. Before we start, actually, Oti, I'm gonna use that as a transition. You're gonna be on a plane. You said on Tuesday. Hopefully, you've landed by Wednesday, because on Wednesday we have a very special show. Finally confirmed. We're gonna have Star Wars author Tessa Gratton here live Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So everyone out there, make sure to have read Temptation of the Force, Defy the Storm, Path of Deceit. Probably Oti hasn't finished yet half of those books. But
I'll say the following. I'm doing a very me thing. I just powered through 120 pages of Defy the Storm.
There you go.
Wow.
Congratulations.
I have like 300 more to go and another book to go through, but
here's the thing. These books move fast, both Defy the Storm and Temptation. You'll be ready. You'll be set. You're not going to want to put down Temptation once you start that one. So get excited.
So good. Yeah. You did it with Convergence. You can do it again.
I did it with Convergence. I did it with Path of Vengeance. I did it with Path of Vengeance was like the hardest one. Like because that was a big book, and I powered through it in one day. Just for the
all right. So everyone that's watching us out there for the first time, thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any special episodes when they drop. Like this video if you're watching now. When you watch when you watch later on the replay, and comment down below if you're listening to the audio podcast when this drops later in the week. Also, thank you, and leave us a rating review. And if you're watching live, tell us all your theories, all your pains. Again, therapy time today for 1 hour, an hour and 15 minutes. We'll try to help each other out as we power through this. Oti, who's out there in the chat? I see the comments already going.
A powerful chat going on. Alan is here as always. Hi, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Brennan, hello there, Brennan. He's saying, what an episode, and what an episode indeed. We have Mo in the chat. Hola, primos. Hola, prima.
Ooh, Jen Urso pro pick. Love it.
She's very excited about the Brad's Rogue One shirt. So
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Friends of the Force is also in the chat while also being
Who's
here.
that?
Oh,
Huh?
there
That's
we go.
crazy.
Wait, have we ever
You
seen
seen
the
that-
Friends of the Force and us in the same room at the same time?
What?
Hmm?
Wait a second.
Who's
What's
behind the
going
mask,
on?
Sarah? Who's behind?
So, and lastly, we have Rebeldes de la Fuerza. Hello there.
There we go.
They're saying, great to see Brad and Sarah, and directly did my entire High Republic reading journey while listening to their episodes. Thank you for being
Yay!
here.
Aw,
Awesome.
thanks for
to
joining
hear
us on
that.
all of our silly High Republic conversations.
Also,
So-
sorry.
Talking about silly, or not silly, but talking about High Republic conversation. Everyone here, of course, big High Republic fan. You can see Otis, High Republic shirt right there. You guys there, Friends of the Force, coined that term that's kind of taken a little bit. It's this egg talk. Can you talk a little bit about what it is, where it came from, where you see the stories going right now? Because it seems to be coming to the Nameless, and why were they taken from their planet?
The Nameless, who have never done anything wrong in their entire life. Brad, you give us egg talk since he's typing. I can tell.
Yeah. Well, egg talk is a phrase that we coined because in 2019's Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, there was a prophecy in there talking about eggs. Specifically, the Nameless are also mentioned. This was a time before the High Republic. So as we got farther in and were able to put a name to these nameless creatures, we were like, wait a minute. It's all connected. We see what you're doing, Claudia. We see what you're doing, Kevin. We know, we see. And then, like, I think last year, middle of the year, it was like confirmed on StarWars.com that the Nameless were first teased in Master and Apprentice. And so we were like, wow, we're not delusional. We're on to something here. So we're just gonna keep continuing with it. So it's been a good time. Very
and maybe
unhinged.
we are delusional, and like that's okay too.
I mean, we have to be a little bit to enjoy the High Republic full on. You gotta be a little bit delusional.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the High Republic authors are kind of delusional. They came up with a rock. That's a person.
True. Yeah.
The best co-pilot and navigator out there.
Actually, yeah.
All right, so
But yeah, no,
like
it's been great. No eggs
Yeah.
in the Acolyte yet that we know
No,
of.
not yet. We'll see. There's still time.
Yeah.
All right, well, there's a lot to talk about today. So if you guys are ready, I'm not ready. Let's talk Star Wars and Star Wars on TV. Star Wars on TV. All right, so episode 5 of the Acolyte Night. I'm just gonna say, with oh my god, what have we just witnessed? Because even the previous episode kind of started setting up. But oh yeah, it's gonna be an action-packed episode. We'll see Smilo Ren out there fighting. What's gonna happen? But this, at least for me, kind of took a whole new level. Alti, we haven't spoken in a while, but just real quick, your thoughts on everything we just saw.
Before I do that, I just want to say hello to Norho, who's in the chat. Hello,
Ooh.
Norho.
She'll
She
be
had
here
a
next
birthday.
week.
She'll
Yeah,
be here
happy
next week. She had a
birthday.
birthday
Happy
recently. So
birthday.
happy birthday. And also, Dale finally came. Hi, Dale.
You just leave Dale alone. He'll get here. When
He used to be
gets
the
here.
first one in the chat.
I know. He's busy. It's
Yeah.
summertime. He's always doing stuff.
Yeah. So, man, I was really enjoying the Acolyte, but they ruined Kiarimondi's birthday. So, like, what's the point anymore? No.
Yeah.
In a serious version of this conversation, I'm really enjoying the Acolyte. It's the episodes are maybe a bit too short for my liking,
Mhm.
but I think that's fine. I'm having a lot of fun meeting these characters and watching them go, apparently. And this episode specifically kicked my absolute ass because wow.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Even if it was a shorter episode, I've watched it 3 times. I don't feel that, I needed another 10 or 15 minutes. I still no, it hit everything. Didn't feel short. Everything worked for me.
This was the first episode that I was like, wow, we're still going. This
Yeah.
is okay. More death. Yay.
So again, we won't kind of go scene by scene. We kind of just talk about different things and just cover the episode anyways. But Brad and Sarah, the Yord Horde and the Jecki Jam, what happened? They're already dead. And I can't believe it. We kind of have who's going to survive, who's going to die. I'm always the optimism. Everyone's gonna be okay. At least this episode, they'll survive. First, Jecki goes extremely sadistic way, and then 5 minutes later, Yord dies, and I don't know what to believe. And yeah, it's a High Republic, but I guess Brad, I'll start with you. Your just general thoughts seeing this happen for both of two characters that just came out of nowhere, took everyone's kind of attention and love in Star Wars community, and now everyone knows what we High Republic fans go through in every book.
Oh, totally. I think they did a really clever job misdirecting us because of how many red shirts that they brought with them on this mission. So we're like, of course, the red shirts are going to be the lightsaber fodder. We're good. Plot armor on. And the moment, Jecki died, I was like, oh, wait, never mind. Plot armor out the window. This episode, knowing that the Jedi think the Sith have been extinct for millennia in the Phantom Menace, I don't think anybody's making it back to Coruscant. I don't know how or when or how even Vernestra plays into all this eventually too. Although, who knows with Vernestra? Maybe we see the end of her life on the show. Who knows? I don't want to say it. But like, I think this episode showed us anything is on the table because we are in a dark, dark time in the galaxy.
I'll be honest, that had never crossed my mind that Vernestra might kind of end at the end of the Acolyte. And then someone else posted, maybe it was Alan, he can tell me, someone else kind of posted, oh, maybe this is the end of Vernestra. And I'm like, oh no, that's right. We don't know what. We're surprised that she's even here. Now I'm scared for one more of my favorite characters. Sarah, you kind of maybe teasing the same thing? And again, seeing Yord and Jecki kind of meet their demise already.
I live in fear. I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm on this wave and I will ride it into the shore, but whatever happens between the wave and the shore, who knows? Will I fall off the surfboard? I don't know. Seeing Jecki and Yord go in this episode was genuinely devastating. Genuinely, feelings were terrible. The episode was really good, and I agree with you, Oti. This is the first one where I was like, oh, there's not more. Like, when this episode ended, although the ending was still a little abrupt, I was like, okay, I feel like we've done a lot here.
I can wait a week.
Yeah. I need to know what happens right now or else. However, give me a little bit of time to work through what just happened to me, and then I'll get back to it.
Oti, when you saw these two, a Jedi Knight, that have been a staple of this show, one of the main faces so far with Yord, Charlie Barnett taking over social media, StarWars.com and everything, and Jecki, of course, all the love that she was getting. And maybe one of them dies, but no, both of them. Again, went out as heroes, went battling the dark side, kicking ass, but unfortunately couldn't make it.
The minute they killed Jecki, I was like, okay, everyone's fair game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hated to see them die.
Sure.
But on the same page, I was excited because I don't think Star Wars has ever surprised me like this. Like, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited that my favorite franchise that I've been following for 30 years gave me something that I hadn't seen. And the episode was just so cool for me to be upset about anything. Regarding Vernestra, I'll just say she's lived over 200 years. Life's a bitch, but when it's your turn, it's your turn.
Odie, that's a great point. Just in terms of the deaths, because there was a quote from that EW article that came out on Wednesday, and Daphne had said, like, if we're not making the show dangerous, then why are we even here concerned about the stories? So I think, that it really added some heavy stakes, because I think we've been so used to shows that are like The Mandalorian and like, Andor. We know Andor gets to Rogue One. So, there's little wiggle room for who can die and who can't in some of these shows. And so, I think I get your point about it was exciting, but also like tragic at the same time, because the fact that the community is reeling so bad in the wake of this episode shows that build up and that character development of everybody that went to Kofar like really made a difference, and like we actually cared about these characters.
Yeah, I know, at least for me, when we're watching the Bad Batch, a lot of people say, oh, someone needs to die. Is all the Bad Batch going to die? Because we need stakes. Without stakes, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. There's always stakes going around. We don't know who's going to survive. So they already lost stake. And I was extremely happy when everyone survived. So again, maybe it goes the same way. No, here you go. Half of them are dead. And the person doing the killing was Qimir, the stranger, Milo Ren, Dark Typhus. Extremely shocked. So right there, Oti, so I guess no one is surprised it was him. Are you okay? Does it matter that it was not telegraphed, but it doesn't matter. At least to me, it doesn't matter because the reveal worked in the show and the way the character was portrayed afterwards, it doesn't matter who's behind the mask. Kind of, he was great. Give me Qimir. He's been setting the things in motion since episode 2. So of course, let's see his face now.
I like how this show has been so loose with its reveals and so casual with them. Yeah. There really wasn't much build up to who the master was. Like, again, yes, we were speculating from the beginning who's behind the mask, but the show really didn't ponder on that until basically the previous episode and this episode. Like, yeah, here he is. He's the person. That makes me actually very excited for what's next because I think we've exhausted most of the theories and piecing together with the trailers what's going to happen. So I think we're now in fresh territory. But I really like the reveal of Qimir. There's a lot of things to his character that I think are very interesting. And yeah, like I guess we'll talk more about it.
So Sarah, were you one of the people out there kind of speculating that Qimir might be the one? I know a lot of people were, maybe it's one of Mother Coral, or it's people maybe in Dara somewhere kind of manipulating everything. Were you surprised with the reveal? Were you okay with it? And then from there, kind of going into, we'll talk more about this as we go along, but kind of revealing, I don't have a name. You Jedi might call me Sith. And what that implication might lead on in the future.
Right. I think that I had two theories that were ongoing. And one was yeah, it's Qimir. Obviously, it's Qimir. We've never seen them, together. Therefore, but the other one was maybe it's a secret third option, and it's someone we haven't seen yet at all. And now I've kind of shifted that to I don't think that Qimir is the actual master. I think that he is the apprentice looking for somebody under him, an acolyte, because if you think about his dialogue when he's like, I'm looking for a pupil, an acolyte, he never says apprentice, which makes me think that he is the apprentice and that we're trying to usurp the master. Anyway, I was shocked but not surprised in the sense of I think the reveal was super, super well done and shocking, and I was yelling, pacing, screaming, crying. Honestly, there should have been a camera on me watching these past 2 episodes because I would like to watch it back because I think that I would have been really funny. The range of emotions I was going through was a little bit absurd. I live at home, so my family was like, Sarah, be quiet. And I'm like, you don't understand. You're interrupting my Star Wars time right now. I understand this is a family room, a living room. Yeah. This is my Star Wars time. Right. Yeah. Everybody else, you get your time in an hour. But yeah, in terms of what could be next and where this character goes, I'm really, really excited about it because I agree that we're definitely in an open field. There's so many options ahead of us at this point, since it was so, this is the obvious answer.
Yeah, it's something I think because I heard a lot of people say, no, it was too obvious. They kind of missed it. There should be something else. Oh, what kind of mystery show if everyone knew about it? But also, we've been speculating since the trailer came out. Who's the guy behind the mask? There are 30 theories out there. I usually use my family as the barometer for the regular fans out there. And I've been watching this show with my wife, and last week she's like, oh, who might it be? Maybe it's this guy. And she mentioned Qimir, but she wasn't 100% sure. Watching this episode, when Osha kind of mentions, oh, my mother was able to take over Jedi's mind. I saw this once. They said, oh, maybe, and she said, maybe it's one of the mothers. And then when the reveal came out, oh, it was really this guy. So for people that are not chronically online, it still serves the purpose of, oh, it's a cool reveal. Brad, a lot of people are saying, oh, he looks like a Knight of Ren. He looks like the original Ren. You think, and he never said, I'm a Sith. The Sith claimed their name. He did mention I'm Sith. Where do you lean in terms of, yes, a Sith apprentice looking for his own apprentice to overthrow the master, which it's still where I also kind of fall? Or could it be leading to Ren, the Knights of Ren? Is that too obscure for the general fandom? Or is this just leading, another show leading to the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, I'm kind of the thought that he is currently a part of the secret Sith structure, but doesn't want to be.
Okay.
And he wants to get out of it. That's why he wants an acolyte. He wants to usurp his master, a la Rule of Two, but to have like a new kind of power in the galaxy that he can establish. And maybe that is the Knights of Ren, right? Like maybe he is the original Ren, not the one we see in Train Kylo, but like far in the past. And I think to Sarah's point, saying some might call me Sith, I think he's poking fun at the Jedi, because we know the Jedi think in very binary ways, like, and it's set up in the show. It's not about good or bad, right? It's about power. So I think that's kind of poking fun at the fact that the Jedi think of things too black and white and very simplistically. And he is sort of like, I'm living in 2035. Like I'm above everybody here. Like I'm on a different plane of existence.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of his driving motivation, is he just wants to be outside of the current dichotomy in the galaxy. He's just like, I'm out. I'm outside the box. You're all in the box, uncreative people. Go home.
Yeah, he kind of mentions at one point, I think he's talking to Saul, like, oh, I don't follow the rules, or it's you don't have to break the rules if you don't follow them. Even the Sith have rules, be the rule of two of whatever. So maybe he wants to be outside of that. Yord kind of mentioned he doesn't follow the rules of combat. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Oti, we've talked weeks ago that no, this is obviously the apprentice looking for his apprentice to then overthrow the Sith Lord. Are you still falling into that camp, or you kind of? At least it surprised me also that Saul didn't have a reaction when he kind of mentioned the Sith. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, get out of here. It's like, so you just say the word Sith, and you're
I want to hang on to that for a second. Yeah. I actually thought the same thing when I saw it, and I kind of thought, like, do the Jedi even think of the Sith at this point if they've been gone for almost 1,000 years? Like, really think about this. Who were the dominant group 900 years ago on Earth? I looked it up, so I know the answer to that. But like, the Mongol Empire was like basically the big empire at that point. Like, what if someone randomly said, like, yeah, the Mongols are back? Like, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
So it's super bizarre because it's Star Wars. We read about it. We know everything, how it's connected. We know the Sith are coming back. The Jedi don't know that. So I think it would be super interesting if he tells Saul, like, he said something, if Saul tells Vernestra something like, he said something about the Sith, the Sith, and maybe Vernestra knows, and she's like, oh crap. So yeah, and something from the chat I wanted to pull. Someone, Chavez de la Fuerza mentioned they love the similarities in looking for freedom as their life mission between the Stranger and Markian Row, and I like that. It's on paper, it's a good pitch. Yeah, I don't want the Jedi intruding in my life. I don't want the government intruding in my life. But what you're selling is something else, something very sinister. Because freedom for them is freedom to, yeah, I'll kill you if I want. Yeah, I'll raid this village just because I want their bread or something like that. So I really like that comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit surprised because the Sith have gotten mentioned in the High Republic. In Phase 2, there was some mention. I think in Phase 2, at least Phase 1, I know there was some mention. In Phase 3, in Escape from Valo, whatever his name was, he's kind of dressing as a Sith with a fake red lightsaber. But again, this is 150 years before, so maybe they forgot. But anyway, and we'll go back to that scene and the conversation between Qimir and Saul later on. We'll talk a little bit more theory because I found a lot of things very interesting in there. But let's talk first with Qimir versus Saul, kind of round one, the first time they kind of finally cross swords, which sounds kind of weird, but why? I didn't know that helmets in Star Wars. I know cortosis, but I mean, I'm not going to take my helmet off so you can read my mind or something like. I didn't know this was a thing. Why is Qimir doesn't want Saul to read his mind? I think there's something there, but and of course a great line like, "What master hides his face from his pupil? Oh, you tell me." I don't know. Oti, watching that scene, we've always said Saul is gonna break our hearts when we find out what happens. What's going on?
I have a super weird theory about what Saul did, and let's see. I think there's room for us learning that Saul did nothing, and the show has just been putting us on that Sith mindset that yeah, he has to be evil because he has to be hiding something because he's a Jedi and they're sketchy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be like very fun, and that would kind of pull the rug from under us. Maybe in Dara, maybe they all did something and he never found out because he was too busy looking for Osha.
Yeah,
his baby girl.
For you guys, Brad and Sarah, that first interaction between Saul and Qimir, we kind of have that in that Sith part was later, but kind of show your face. No, not really. Why don't you show yours? Or you also hiding your face, and also, no, I'm gonna keep my helmet off so you don't read my mind or cloud my mind. I don't know. A lot of revelations just in that little bit right there.
Yeah, I think that one of the really interesting things, because for me, the what kind of master hides his face, you tell me, is alluding to the secrets that Soul is keeping about that night on Brendock, of course. At least I don't think it goes far beyond that. But and let you read my thoughts. No. First of all, I was like, hello, Batman 2022. Welcome back.
Yeah.
But I was like, what? Who is Qimir? What has happened to him? What has made him feel like this? And I think we've gotten a taste of that with when the Jedi show up on Brendock and we hear them say, like, we hear you're teaching children. Well, the Republic, alluding to like, well, the Republic has some sort of mandate that the Jedi are the only ones that can teach children in the Force, which is like interesting. But I wonder if like a classic is like someone was taken away from him. He feels a loss there, which is exactly what May is feeling. Or if he's been taken advantage, of by the Jedi in a way, or a way that he perceives. I'm very curious about what that will reveal about Qimir in the future, especially because we know that he can put on roles, masks, faces, characters very, very easily. When he goes from Qimir, the kind of guy in his own world who's just a smuggler who once worked for the Hutts and he's just gonna give May this, poison, to the very sinister vocal inflection, and then switch immediately back into, oh, hello.
Yeah.
He's like a master manipulator in that, and I want to know what made him choose that path.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question. These are my thoughts on Qimir.
No, it's fine.
That was one of my favorite moments. Oh, hello. Only 2 seconds later. Did you think that you were?
I mean, big props to Manny Jacinto because, yeah, you can act one way behind the mask, another way when he just being Qimir, but that switch right there in 2 seconds to go back and forth was great.
Dare I say Manny is one of the best casting decisions the Star Wars franchise has ever made.
Yeah.
Especially for a villain, like incredible. And I love that the one clip from the celebration circulating where he's on stage being like, "What's up, Star Wars?" And like he's even putting on that goofy persona during like very early press. So he was like trying to really smooth us over and say, "Oh, I'm not the bad guy, I'm just a silly little guy in the show, We see now, Manny, we know what you did."
Even watching the trailers, I was thinking, not that they're wasting, but it's like, is he just gonna be this guy? He's there for 2 episodes and not really doing anything, kind of hiding? It's like, no, he's a big bad, and we just all fell for it. Brad, did you not fall for it, but watching that first interaction with Saul and kind of that back and forth? And I want to jump into this later on. Do you think there's more maybe between the two of them? Some history there?
Yeah, we were trying to figure that out because when Saul says, "Oh, I thought I sensed something familiar," Sarah and I were wondering, is that like 2-day old familiar, or is that much, much longer day familiar? And I get the sense it'd be kind of a silly thing to just be like, "Oh, I remember you from Tuesday." Like that's kind of anticlimactic to say that even. So I feel like somehow Qimir, which looking at the age of Amandla and Manny's in his late 30s, Amandla in their mid 20s. So like theoretically, if it's been 10 years since Brendock, or 10 or 16 years, that would put him in like his early 20s.
I checked because I have when we get to our theory time, I have one, and I checked the age, the same thing. I think it would have been 22, 16 years ago. So
got it. Yeah. So we have to take it at face value because we know the Star Wars characters' ages aren't the actors' ages. So there's that. But and maybe that was the point you're going to make, Odie. But
he could be 22 or he could be 5,000 years old.
Right,
exactly.
And maybe we decide. Right, we decide to change his age at some point in the future.
When they reset the canon.
Right.
Break the lore hard.
Man. It's breaking so many canon right now. So kind of Jecki versus Qimir fighting at one point Saul and Jecki at the same time, which was badass, as he's even trying to catch May, but before that and we'll get a little bit later to May and Jecki's fight, but Jecki goes full on again. This Padawan now it's just two lightsabers. It was a great fight, and we haven't talked about the cortosis, helmet, and forearm brace, and just headbutting lightsabers, which just visually kicks ass. But that fight between those two, and then when you bring Saul into it, and it's like they're really trying to kill each other. It's like it's not just we're firing your shot and lightsaber to the side and now you jump. It's no, they're trying to hurt each other. I think just seeing a Padawan with two green lightsabers going toe to toe with let's say Sith at the moment in Jecki, 2024 has to be a great feeling, right?
Jecki, you absolute little monster. Like she did her best. She handed his ass to him. I got pumped up watching Jecki, even from her fight with May. Well, she was trying to arrest her, and it was kind of funny, like her citing every single reason she was arresting her. That fight was pretty cool, but when she gets to Qimir, like, this episode had so many fist pumping moments. Like, we had like two of those last minute blocks, like Yord saving the day. I think Soul blocks Qimir from killing Jecki. There were like a lot of so many cool moments, and Jecki, for me, she was my MVP. Like even though she bites it, she's the one who breaks the mask. She's the one who got closest, I think, to dealing Soul, but she at that point she was the closest to get to beating him.
Dude, Soul pushes Qimir back with the force, and Jecki goes straight to the head, trying to decapitate him. But Brad, did it live up to the expectation of X-23 with a lightsaber, which we've been hearing for a while? It's great.
Totally. Jackie kicked serious ass. She would have survived Order 66. I don't know how long the Phelan's ages are, but she would have kicked clone ass eventually had she lived.
She would have been great.
Yeah, I think that's the most tragic part about it. Just seeing how versatile she was. It felt like she was almost dance. It was like a dance more so than a fight with her, because she just was so like smooth and fluid in the way that she fought. So I feel like she had such a bright future ahead for her, and that's the worst part about it. It's just like the Jedi Knight she would have become out of the situation had she lived. Just like rips my heart out.
Yeah, I wish we could kind of posthumously give her a Jedi Knight ranking, because she deserves it.
Totally.
I think that point's also very interesting, because how do you kill the Jedi without a weapon? You take away the youth. Like, yes, I know he used the weapon, but like the youth are what make the Jedi what they are. They are what we grow beyond, and I think that death symbolized like so much more than just a Padawan dying. Like it's like the Sith slowly killing off the future of the Jedi. And I also think it's interesting that she dies the minute she goes for the head.
Yeah.
Like the second she stopped defending and went for the attack, that's when she was defenseless and died. So yeah, interesting.
All right, that's too deep. We're not going there. So Sarah, as this fight goes on again, Jecki and Saul both fighting. Just visually, it's a great fight. At the same time, Qimir is chasing down May because, oh, you were trying to betray me all this. Later on, force choking her, or actually choking her and just firing block shots. But unfortunately, that all leads to our first big death, which everyone gasped in my house, including me. Sorry, I put in this on you first. And you mentioned how you scream at your house watching this episode, but I know it's heartbreaking for everyone, and we said how surprised we were, but did ever cross your mind watching this episode at the beginning that she was going to die, and then die the way she did with 3 lightsaber stabs to the whole body, basically?
Not at all. Not at all. Again, like Brad mentioned up top, like too much plot armor for any of our named characters to die. And like, and my thought was like, okay, thinking about a High Republic, like you're really gonna kill a Wookiee Padawan? You're gonna kill Buryaga? No, you're not.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Like, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
The Wookiees are precious. Here, it's like flipped. Here's my Wookiee shrine. But like you wouldn't do that. And then I saw Kelnaka's death in the last episode. And I'm like, oh, they're killing the Wookiees. It's going great. But it's like, why would you kill? You're not going to kill your Padawan. You're not going to kill a kid. But I should have known, 1, because it's the High Republic. 2, just because every red shirt had died so far. And pretty impressively too, like in terms of how the fights were choreographed. So no, I didn't expect this at all. But I have to say that it was really well executed and just a really exciting fight. And I thought that I was like, oh, Jecki, she's getting somewhere. She's going somewhere. But the way that it's shot, hiding his face to get that dual saber reveal into that moment, and then just seeing her reaction to what's just happened to her and to his face, it was like just a really good piece of storytelling. But man, was it devastating. Awful, yelling, me walking around being like, oh my god, okay, and he's not the master, he's definitely the apprentice.
Yeah, me at all. And even a couple of weeks ago, an interview that Leslie Headland, that interview she had with Dave Filoni, the kind of sit down talk, and she's talking about how Jecki kind of measures a little bit with Ahsoka and having some trouble saying, oh, this is going to be her first mission, and Filoni saying, oh, that's what the Jedi kind of ordered, the Jedi Council is for, to get you ready for the world. So yeah, of course she's going to be there. So I'm like, same thing. Oh no, she's going to make it. And then she dies. But again, being a badass, breaking the helmet off, at least doing the reveal. Now, on the other side of Brendock, or Kofar, I should say, Yord took Osha because Saul said, take the civilian out of here. They get lost in the forest because Basil is out doing Basil things. Every time Basil came into the screen, I'm like, oh, there's Basil. Don't die, Basil. I love you. He'll be the key to all of this later on, but
Basil's got serious plot armor. You can't kill you can't kill a cute little thing like that. You just can't do it.
No, they killed enough Ewoks back in '83. That's enough killing of cute creatures. But they decide to go back. And Osha listening again to little May's voice, which again, what is that connection? When Arzu was here a couple of weeks ago, we talked about forced dyad between those two. She's still hearing baby or young May out there. But they decide to go back. Oti, what are your thoughts?
I just want to say, and reading The Fight the Storm is the book's name? Yeah, okay. Yes. There's a moment where Vernestra is talking to Barry Santeca, and she talks about it's weird that the Force is using that face to manifest to her. I think it's basically the same thing. I think the Force just manifests to Osha as young May.
The Force.
I don't think they're talking through space time. That's what I'm saying.
Dyad comes in different ways. You don't know. Different flavors.
I also wonder about because we see it's like 13 minutes in. If anybody's looking for the timestamp. We see Qimir with the mask right up in the front of the camera in I think May's head. So I was also wondering, is it not, May talking to Osha or the Force talking to Osha, but Qimir talking to Osha? And similar, I mean, when we think about Snoke, right? We think about Kylo Ren, we think about the Force and how it the Force manipulated him from before his birth, canonically. It makes me wonder, is this a Palpatine Snoke Force, evil manipulation, rather just a neutral Force manipulation, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, it could be around that same time is when Yord said, "Oh, he got into my mind," or you feel that he's on your mind. Osha goes on to say, "Oh, my mother could do that. I saw her get into Jedi's mind," and then she hears May in her mind. So it's all connected, like they say out there. But they decide to go back, unfortunately, and we saw what happens. Brad, I kind of made a joke before the episode come out. Maybe Yord is a kick-ass lightsaber duelist. He goes in, lightsaber in hand, helmet in hand, to just bash the crap out of that red lightsaber. Was a kick-ass move, and then he got his neck snapped off, basically. Second death. I'm not gonna ask if you're surprised, but I love that Yord went back, just kind of full on. Let's go and try to save everyone out there. After May said, "Oh, he's gonna kill all of them. We gotta go do something." It didn't work out for him.
Yeah, the brutality of Yord's death was unexpected.
Yeah,
just like a neck snap.
Yeah,
it's the first time we've ever seen somebody snap a neck in Star Wars. Usually, you're just getting shot by a blaster or getting your arm chopped off, and it's lightsaber stab. This is like
it wasn't even
serious John Wick stuff.
It wasn't even a force snap. It was just like bare hands,
just total bicep. Which, like, respect. I'm gonna go to the gym and try to get biceps as big as those. But like, my God, I would love for that to happen to me. I mean, I don't want that to ever happen to me, obviously, because that would mean I would die peacefully. I mean, tragically. But yeah, I think as a fellow Yord hoarder, from like even before the series started, like it was a moment for me. I understand how Sarah felt when Kelnaka died the week before, and then like I lost my main the following week, and now we're just sitting here like a bunch of clowns, and we'll just clown our way to the series or season finale.
That's what High Republic life is all about. Clownery.
Yeah, total clownery. Never a dull moment.
Man, Yord was one of my favorites since the trailers came out, since the character descriptions came out. I'm a sucker for Jedi that want to follow the rules. I appreciate them. And I told Oti and other people, I think when he finds out what happened on Brandog, just the ceiling is going to break on his Beyond the Jedi. All this is going to happen to him. We didn't get there. But again, like you said, Brad, just the brutality of it. And then he just chucks them to the side like he's a piece of trash. Like, yeah, oops, there you go. And then I didn't even mention when he kills Jecki and Sully's like, oh, she was only a child. Well, you brought her here. And was that her name, or was that its names? Like, he doesn't care about anything right now. He's just destroying them, throwing every word back at them. But also that little wording of, you brought her here. Yes, she's a child, but it's the Jedi's fault for bringing child into battlegrounds, basically. Sarah, that little conversation between the two of them, did you pick up anything else? And also, again, seeing the Yord horse suffer a big loss after everyone's been steaming their clothes now, and now we gotta say bye to a Yord.
It's so real, like I had steamed all my clothes for the episode to look so nice and great. And then here we are. And by at the end of the episode, there was a wrinkle. And I was like, what is that? Oh, it's the wrinkle in my heart of sadness. But no, it was, that death was so tragic. But that conversation was so interesting to me because I remember Brad and I had a conversation on episode 4 when Jecki said, what is it? It really goes to what you were saying earlier, OT, with like the Sith are such ancient history, even if we do know about them, us being the Jedi in this scenario, if we do know about them, we don't have any firsthand accounts of them. We don't have anybody coming into the classroom and being like, here's my experience of a Sith. It's all writings. History is a narrative, right? So who is crafting the story about the Sith? What do the Jedi know about the Sith? Are they something that is even remotely tangible in our present space? And so in doing that, I mean, I think that Jecki really revealed a lack of understanding of what an enemy could be within the context of the world that they are living in this late High Republic era. I also think that Qimir clearly sees the inhumanity in that statement. It is not a pronoun that you use to refer to people. And so he's going to throw that right back at Soul, after her death, because she denied my humanity or my existence. Why would I give her any space? So I thought that was really, it felt very heavy. It felt like a lot. And the "you brought her here" line was devastating and revealing, because we know throughout Star Wars history, children in the war causes some problems, whether it be the death of all the younglings, whether it be the Guardian protocols in the High Republic, where we're advancing them to like active status, or all over, whether it be the burning of the temple in the sequel or before the sequel trilogy, right? Like, I find it very interesting because it puts together the Force with conflict, and it puts together the Force with war, rather than the Force as an entity, as an idea, being something neutral, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and he also goes to the Jedi not really learning, but then when you read like Brotherhood at the end, when Palpatine starts again manipulating, it's we gotta get more Jedi Knights to be master, more Padawans to be knight, because we need to build our own army. Dude, it just happened. We're seeing kids die now because they're not ready to be out there. Yeah, you didn't learn anything. But
and it also connects too to like Qimir or the Stranger's comment of like, kill the dream. That's how you kill the Jedi. I mean, you kill the dream by enlisting Padawans into like a soldier position, and then you're no longer protectors of peace and justice. You're soldiers, and that's how the dream is killed in the prequel trilogy. They're no longer peaceful. They're in a war. And that dream is killed. Like that's how Palpatine rises to power, is killing the dream. So
I don't understand.
All connected.
Yeah, there are people out there saying that the writing of the show is better, that the story doesn't make sense. It's like, no, everything. Look at all the pieces how they're falling. You don't even have to think that hard. And when you start thinking, like, everything connects so much easier, it's like, it's right there.
Sarah's gonna say something.
I've been saying this, but literally nothing in this series is novel. It is all Star Wars. Like, it is so Star Wars. Whether it be the May and Osha, they've turned you against me, like whether it be the twins separated, whether it be this masked stranger with like this probably complicated past, like the Sith, the Jedi, none of this is new for Star Wars. And that's what I've been finding so fun about this show, is that every plot moment that happens feels so quintessentially Star Wars, and yet I am still surprised. I am still so engaged, and I feel the essence of what I know the franchise to be, at least in my experience, throughout the show everywhere.
I 100% agree with that. For me, this is capturing the lightning in a bottle that was the prequel trilogy. Even the wooden acting is there, and it's very funny to see people defending George and his choices as a director with his actors, and being like, the acting here is terrible. And it's like it's clearly riffing on what came before. If you don't like it in the prequels, I totally get you not liking it here. But if you praise it in the prequels, come on.
Like that one tweet going around, they're like, they couldn't even sense the Sith. I'm like, bro, they were sitting in a room with Palpatine for like 10 years. Like, what do you want? It wasn't an issue then. Why is it an issue now?
Anyways, it's like when you have a pet that you're allergic to and you're sniffly all the time, and you're just like being sniffly is part of my life, and then you move away. Maybe that was living at home, and now you've moved away, and you're like, wait a second, everybody can breathe this clear. the Jedi are in that I'm just sniffly all the time throughout all of history.
Yeah,
because their villains have always been there.
Every time I clean my guinea pig's cage, I start sneezing, and my wife is, "You might be allergic." No, it's fine. It will just be it's usually the last 20 minutes that happens. That I'm fine at the beginning. It's there. I got an allergy. The Jedi. So, I mean, we always talk about Qui-Gon Jinn told the council, "I just fought a Sith 2 minutes ago." No, you didn't. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
I saw it with my own 2 eyes. No, you didn't.
It's all sweaty.
Oh my lord!
Just dripping of sweat.
And
he tried to kill this little boy.
Even when the Sith kills Qui-Gon, they're kind of like, "Oh, whatever, he died."
I just remembered one thing. Anakin goes to Mace Windu and tells him, "Palpatine just told me he is a Sith Lord," and Mace is like,
"I told me it's true.
I have to go check. Go check."
Pixar didn't happen, young Skywalker.
Oh my. You know who didn't need Pix to get angry? It was Saul Oti when he went full on dark with his anger. I thought for a second that he was actually gonna kill Qimir. Were you surprised how brutal he got? And that face-to-face fight that those two had, no lightsabers inside, just punching each other head on. That was great. Like Brad mentioned before, something we really haven't seen in Star Wars, that brutality in fights, especially for a Jedi, the cool compose. Were you waiting for someone to stop him, or you think that, maybe he's going to take his head off at that point?
Man.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Odie.
You go first, I go first.
Yeah, you go.
Who talks first?
All you.
I was of 2 minds. I thought like he's gonna kill him, and that's gonna plant the dark seed, and that's gonna grow, and he's gonna turn into a Sith. But I really like that he didn't kill Qimir. Like, I know a lot of people's like, "Oh, he could have ended it right there," and yeah, he would have probably ended the Sith line or stopped it for a while. But being a Jedi is being better, and his choices are his own, and I don't know. I was surprised that he could compose himself, because Qimir really pushed him. Like, he killed his Padawan. He was trying to kill May constantly. He taunted him. He teased him. So good on you, Soul.
It got me wondering if Qimir is looking for an acolyte, did he see something within Soul in that fight that he's like, what have you done with your darkness? Right. He's like, what have you done with your darkness? I've embraced it. Why don't you embrace it? Yeah. And so I think there's maybe a realm in which neither May or Osha become the acolyte, but actually Soul becomes the acolyte, because he is predisposed to his own darkness based on whatever happened on Brendok potentially. And maybe the series becomes about the twins saving Soul. And I know there's like things between like Soul is like, the sun, and like Qimir, I think Qimir's name in Arabic means moon, I believe. And so there's like that kind of thing where it's like, it's like the sun and the moon and the Umbra moths in this episode, the creatures, a horde of them is called an eclipse. So you're like, oh god, the sun and the moon and the eclipse, and they're gonna align, and the acolyte is the eclipse too. It's all connected. I sound like a clinically insane person right now, but like that's there's a realm in which Soul could be bad, or could end up being bad.
Crazy for saying that.
Like, actually though, like, I'm connecting the dots. You didn't connect shit. Like, you did not.
I'm just gonna say no to that. Thank you.
I'm gonna get my big encyclopedia of mythology book that I have out there. Before every Star Wars series, I gotta find out what every name means, make all these connections out there. Like Dave Filoni's writing everything. Sarah, where do you fall again with Soul kind of showing that darkness and that anger, being stopped by Osha last minute, and then the Umbra Moth, the cicadas, whatever, kind of taking them out with Pip coming in as a light source. I love you, Pip. Thank you for your service. Kind of just, I'll get another one, but
That was brutal. I was like, no, but not the droid too. Like everybody's going. But that moment is so interesting because I think the line is his mind is twisted by darkness. And then he says, I've accepted my darkness. What have you done with yours? And my thought was, well, I go back to one of my favorite quotes from the High Republic, which is Comac Vitas Into the Dark. I have pulled up my document for you.
I got it in my notes. I have it Into the Dark.
How can we split the Force in two? How can we justify such an act of violence? And it is violence, such a dividing, even the darkness divided from the light. Page 128 for anybody following along. And my thought is, well, that to me implies that Soul has buried his darkness. He has hidden it away. He has compartmentalized it and put it in a vault. He clearly knows what's happened. He's clearly experienced the darkness before, but instead of embracing it or working with it or acknowledging it, it seems like he has pushed it away. And to me, that feels like a splitting of the Force, which leaves him in this moment vulnerable to be taken by that influence of the darkness when his anger bubbles up that like the vault is turning and it's opening, right? And it puts him, he could have killed Qimir in this moment, and honestly maybe that would have been the right choice. Oh, Brad, I see your comment, go away. Maybe that would have been the right choice in terms of the galaxy at large. If you could go back and in your time machine and kill this terrible historical figure, would you do it to save all these other people's lives? Like, that's kind of the question that I think could be asked here. But yeah, there's maybe something that Soul sees in Qimir that he fails to acknowledge in himself, but I don't think that it is a temptation to the darkness. I don't think that he has any fear of going dark. I think he just has a fear of being a failure because he has engaged with the dark in the past.
And I want to add to that point, not to bring up egg talk here, but like the thought behind egg talk is like, how do you face, what do the Jedi fear and how do you face fear? I think often in the prequels we hear fear is a path to the dark side. So the Jedi create avoidant behavior. They separate light from dark and they only embrace the light and they never acknowledge the dark. And so I think back to the first episode of this series where Jecki and Soul are saying, hey, if you don't look at the past, you're doomed to repeat it. And I think, this conversation that Soul and Qimir are having, I think is kind of pointing out the fact that the Jedi as an order have not, are no longer acknowledging the past, or they're no longer acknowledging that the Sith once existed. They don't know what the Sith are. It's an it, as Jecki says, and they don't know like what that darkness, what to do with it, or how to handle that emotion, because nobody talks to each other and nobody helps each other, and they're all just like, hey, you feel fear, just I don't know, like eat a cheese stick or something. I don't know. Feel better, bro.
Spice creams and shut up.
Yeah, go have some spice cream. You'll feel better. So yeah, I feel like the order is in a bad place, and so like Qimir has some points. He's like, I've embraced my darkness. That's why I'm beating your guys' butts right now.
But I'll take that point and push it forward. I like that he is making a good point. I like that there's something there to what he's talking about, but it's also a dark side manipulation because his version of this is he was probably wrong at some point. We'll probably learn more about that, or maybe we won't, and we have to wait for a book in 2 years. And he's being like, I suffered, I have darkness, so that justifies me in doing what I'm doing. And accepting his darkness is basically accepting that I can do whatever I want because I was wrong at some point. And the Jedi's version of accepting darkness should be, this happened to me. I did this. What am I going to do to fix it going forward? How are we going to move forward knowing that we did this and make sure it doesn't happen again? So, and visually, Qimir fighting, he looks like an animal who has been unleashed. He looks like someone who's been waiting for this moment for so long. And he's finally being like, I can finally let my anger loose and show you guys what brutal power looks like.
Yeah. What should a Jedi do with their fear and their anger when they do something bad? go read Temptation of the Force and see what Elsa Man did. That conversation.
He screws up again.
No, I won't spoil anything for you.
That's like the 4th time, man. Get a grip, Elsar.
You don't read the book. Read the book, and get ready for chapter 36 and 52.
That's right.
I'm gonna go back to Into the Dark, Sarah. Thank you for me. That's my favorite Star Wars book. Cormac Beer is one of my favorite Jedi. The way he talks about the Order and the Force in that book kind of shattered my brain. And the Order, not that the Order is wrong, we gotta follow the Force, not the Order. Anyway, what brought me to Into the Dark, apart from that, what you mentioned, and when Cormac is talking about losing his master, and that's right, and just how can we just leave this kid here to die unmourned? And then we see all these Jedi die. Soul's Padawan died. Yord died. It's like, okay, bye. This doesn't take a second to mourn them, to see how they're doing. Are they really dead? Do I need to take their bodies with me? It's like, hey, we gotta head out. I know there's a Sith out there hunting us. Show some compassion for the Jedi that just died. But they're one with the Force. That's okay. That's what they should do. It kind of goes back a little bit to what Jecki said episode before. I'll be happy to kind of rejoice with the Force or whatever it is. But I went straight into the dark, into Koma's mindset when all those Jedi were dead, and then Soul just walked out. I'm like, dude, that's your Padawan there. She's like 15, 16 years old, and you didn't take a second to even cover her body up. It's like, we gotta get out of here. I don't know. Alti, before we move on, how's the chat going?
There's a lot going on. Where to start?
Just a couple. You don't need to read everything.
Yeah. Rebecca Zafors is saying Soul is the actual Sith master, ready to kill the imitator when no one's watching. I'll be honest. When he talks to Qimir and he's like, "Why risk exposure?" I was like, could this be like a random reveal? Like, you idiot, you were supposed to remain hidden. Like, why are you showing your face? And he's like, wait, you're my master?
I did wear a mask.
Great. Let's see. They were saying Qimir was trying so hard to be Soul's Padawan because he is the father figure he needed, but Osha beat him with deeper sympathies. That's an interesting theory. I like that.
All right, so let's keep on going with theories. Let's talk about theories for a minute. I'm gonna go straight to Qimir. So this is theory time. Qimir was on Brendok, is what I'm trying to get at. Again, when Arsu was here a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about that Brendok episode. And there's a point when the witches hear something in that reactor room or whatever it is. I thought I heard something. But it's not the Jedi, because the Jedi just kind of walk in. They don't care. They'll just walk in. So what if Qimir was on Brendok? We find out when we go back on the next flashback episode. Maybe he started the fire. Maybe or he fought the Jedi or the witches. That's where Soul kind of met him, and goes back to what Brad was saying about, I thought I sensed something. It's from 16 years ago, not from 2 days ago when I saw you on the...
Qimir started the fire.
Yeah, you don't know. Maybe he was maskless at the time, and now he has a mask as well. You didn't recognize me or something. And then goes to what you say, why risk discovery? Well, I was wearing a mask. Why would Soul at that point, when he says, I'm what you call me a Sith or whatever, why would you risk discovery? Like, Soul has no idea what's going on. So to me, that's kind of not connects, but I have that theory that they know each other from before, probably from Brendok. And then I love, again, all the Qimir's talk about freedom to will my power how I like. I want a pupil, an acolyte. I don't mean to rule, the Jedi do, because they tell me I can't exist. Look at you, right back where you started, which again I think goes back to what happened on Brendok. And again, I've accepted my darkness. What have you done with yours? I think all that ties to them having met before at some point, and I'm hoping it's from what happened at Brendok. I think that's my theory. I think Qimir was there. He had something to do with it. And I'm sticking to it. And I still think he's a Sith apprentice, not a Knight of Ren. He wants a Padawan or an Acolyte. He collects people. Also, that line from a couple of episodes ago.
Like Jesus.
Brad, we're kind of going off the rails now, but where are you? Any theory that you have out there just in general, or just what I kind of mentioned?
Yeah, I feel like the Brendock situation is still such a huge question mark, because I feel like whatever direction that takes is gonna kind of like, it's gonna be like the shining light of like, okay, look behind the curtain now, you see like the truth. And I think we're gonna get that in episode 7, based on that being directed by Kogonada. And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, I don't know. I think the show runs the risk also of like being anticlimactic with that reveal, because it's been built up so much that if it really doesn't stick the landing, it's gonna kind of feel like all for naught. I have a feeling it will stick the landing, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around like what could be so twisty about that night. But also at the same time, Leslie likes telegraphing a twist, and she said that in an interview about Qimir. So that makes me think, okay, well, in all likelihood, what happened on Brendock has also been telegraphed to us already. Like, we should have already been piecing together what happened that night. And I feel like, to your point, I feel like both Qimir was there, and so we know Soul was there. And so maybe they had some sort of encounter with each other. And I don't know. I can't even begin to speculate about, but I just think that Brendock is going to be like a huge telling point.
I'll tell you,
and even if it is the truth, who knows?
Yeah.
Still.
I want to go last.
Sorry, you want to go last? All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tease it up to you when I go to you. So Sarah, any big theories right now with Qimir? Maybe who's his master? I'm putting my foot down with Plagueis, and we'll fight about the timeline where that happens. But any theories of what happened on Brendock, or anything out there that you wanna kind of get off your chest in this safe space right now?
Right. So there's like a couple of things. So the first, I just want to hit on that line of like, the Jedi say I can't exist. Now, the word can't I find to be very interesting, and I think could go a number of different ways, right? The Jedi say you can't exist as like a proclamation. You can't exist, and therefore I will get rid of you. Or the Jedi say I can't exist as in disbelief, as in he can't exist. We don't have Sith in this time. And so I find there's a certain ambiguity in that sentence that I find to be really interesting. And I want to know what the answer there is. My other thought is that like May definitely didn't start the fire. Obviously, at this point, I don't think May started the fire. I am of the mind that there is a changeling, a very precise manipulation in the Force. But I don't think that May, if it was May, actually May, I don't think she started that fire of her own free will. So that's kind of my running theory. I think they would make some sense if Qimir was there, because the question I have is, why is Qimir so hellbent on May completing this mission? Why is for like half of episode 4 he's like, well, you gotta kill somebody without a weapon. You haven't done it yet, and you've got these 4 Jedi, and I've found them for you, and you have to do it. And yeah, like why is he so set on her mission?
Yeah,
Sarah, I really quick want to piggyback off what Sarah said about the fire. I agree. May didn't start the fire. And thinking about, Sarah, you mentioned earlier, maybe Qimir being the one to plant little May into Osha's head. If we think that Qimir planted Osha in May's head, planted May in Osha's head in the first episode where she sees her on the ship and like runs out with her into the snow. Who's to say that on Brendock somebody didn't plant the idea of May doing something in somebody else's head? So they're seeing May start a fire, but really it's like an illusion, or it's a dream sequence or something. Whereas the truth is actually being hidden. You know, like we see those black eyes of all the characters. Like what are they seeing when their eyes go black? We know what happens to Torben. I think it happens to Kelnaka based on the fight scenes that we've seen in commercials. So like, I think the truth is being literally masked, and whatever they're seeing is going to be sticking with them, and also is not reality.
Yeah, the pollen dust that, or like whatever that both May and Osha find themselves face down in at some point in this episode
Mhm.
is also something where I'm like, is something amiss here? Like, obviously, it gives like us a really stark visual motif to bring back, and also with like the force push, it looks like a hand kind of reaching out.
Yeah.
So I think that that's like very clever visually, but I wonder if the redness of that dust or pollen or what have you plays a role in any of this at all.
Yeah, they showed it a couple of times. So they paid too much attention to that to just be, it's a cool visual. There has to be something else there. And just real quick, I'll go back to Yoti. We don't see May start the fire. We saw her burn the book, and then it cuts to inside the room with Osha, and then we just hear that whatever she's holding kind of break on the floor, and then the fire starts. We don't know what happened, so she didn't start the fire. And yeah, to your point, Sarah and Brad, it's like Qimir is more, it's almost angrier with Saul than May is. Like he's the one kind of jabbing at him with every single point. It's like, why are you so interested in bringing Saul down? Like you don't know him, quote unquote. That's why I think there has to be something between them. But a lot of us, all the fans have been building up to this reveal. What's the truth? Are they gonna hit it? Or is it gonna be a fumble like on Doctor Who when we all thought that Ruby Sunday was going to be someone special and her mom? To know it's just Russell T Davies teasing everyone and then not doing a reveal. Sorry, Otis, Star Wars.
I haven't watched the Doctor Who finale. Thank you.
I heard your episode. Don't give me that.
I wanted to go last for a snarky reason because I was gonna be here like I hate theories. I have no theories, but in the passing of time, I came up with a couple of theories. The only thing I'm really like that's keeping me up at night is the Brendock thing. Like regarding if Qimir and Soul know each other and who's actually the master. I really don't think about that. We'll know in a couple of weeks. But the Brendock thing because it's that background scene in the Brendock episode. If you look at the back at the end, we see Torben with his face screwed up. So like something went down for sure. I'm thinking maybe the Jedi were coming back that night and they saw May playing with fire. Maybe they had a role in intensifying that fire. I was also thinking maybe I don't know, maybe the witches screw with them in some way and they start the fight and kill one and they're like, screw it, we have to kill everyone. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be like so. I would have a hard time accepting the shows if the show went like, yeah, the Sith are evil, but they have, from a certain point of view. Like I like the fact that Star Wars is very simple. Like these are the bad guys, these are the good guys. There's space in the middle to discuss their motivations and if everything they do is right or wrong. But I do like that black or white thing of Star Wars. Like for me, that's why the gray Jedi thing doesn't really work. So if we suddenly get this story where like, yeah, but the Sith actually have a point and they try to recontextualize everything that we know, that would be like kind of weird for me. So I think that at the end of the day, yes, we're gonna see the Jedi screw up big time and screw up even more by trying to hide it. But I don't know. I think it still has to maintain that, like, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. I know it's boring. We're in 2024. Storytelling has evolved. Fandoms have evolved. But I don't know. I'm very classical with my Star Wars.
So someone that doesn't see it like you is May, when May and Osha kind of got back together. And Osha and May's like, the Jedi got what they deserved, even though she was about to turn herself into the Jedi 5 minutes ago. So it was kind of weird that she turned on Qimir week before. Now she's back to.
Could she be the one playing everyone?
That'll be something.
Because I do like that moment where she's like, "Oh, they brainwashed you." I think like for Osha's case, she's been hitting something that she should have known, and she's missing part of the story. But I really think the one who's been brainwashed is May, because like. I think Qimir like, oh, this happened to you? Or maybe he was there and he's like, no, this is what happened. This is my version of the story is the correct one. Or this bastardization of your story is the correct one.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, and we'll get to that at the end. It's now that Chimeras with Osha, Maze with Soul. I'm guessing I'll get to it. I don't want to jump ahead, but Sarah, that um, reunion, I guess, between May and Osha, finally after 16 years, they see each other again, and but then it's all those Jedi were more family to me than you ever was. Oh, well, they invaded our home. They turned you against me. You turned you against me. And then the parent trap, of course, everyone's kind of talking about. I think I said here a couple of weeks ago, I want to see that conversation. I want to see that two of them have a little chat. They had it. It wasn't the most healthy one. Sometimes brothers, I have two brothers, so you just gotta lash it out. There's still hate, not hate. There's love there, of course. We're surprising coming more from May than from Osha, but there's something there. Did you like this interaction? What do you take away from it?
I feel like this interaction was so interesting, and also that hug was like the most seamless, insane, bonkers like visual effects because it's so crisp. It's great, but the scene itself is really interesting because May is given a lot more is cycling through a couple of different modes. I feel like there are moments where I feel really emotional and sincere, and then there are moments where she feels really cold, and I find that interesting. It makes me feel like May is somebody who's like scripted this moment out in her mind a lot and doesn't expect Osha to be as decisive about her opinion of May as she is, because Osha says, "You started the fire. You're the violent one. You're the violent one." Osha has made up her mind and has had this in her mind for so long. She doesn't want anything to do with May in this way. And May is pleading with her. But the switch between kind of the really kind of empathetic moment of like, oh my gosh, it's my sister, to the well, you never could block, or those sort of moments, the Jedi got what they deserved, makes me feel like we are missing a piece of May's story for sure. We're missing something. Like, I can feel that we're missing something. So is she the master manipulator? Is she is there something we just don't know? Obviously, her point of view of the Brendok Knight is the clear answer to that piece of the thing we don't know, which would probably, if Osha saw that version of events, I feel like she'd be like, oh, I was maybe wrong, actually. But we don't see that. So I thought the reunion was super interesting. It felt very stilted, but not in a way that was off-putting to me as an audience member, in a way that felt intentional within the scene. And yeah, I kind of wonder when May decided that she was gonna do a little swaparoo in that scene.
Brad, what are your thoughts again on this conversation between those two sisters? Then kind of May, cutting her hair, maybe just to hitch a ride with Saul, who knows? But what's happening between the two of them? Are you okay with the way May's kind of going back and forth, or who she follows? Although maybe she doesn't follow anymore. It's just, I just want to reconnect with my sister, and I just want to be together with her because I have no family left, really. Is that maybe just her whole point? Is just, I want to be with my sister.
Yeah, I think it's largely that. And there was another quote from Leslie in that EW article about how she's essentially going to try to prove that the Jedi are as wrong as she says they are. And I guess like some predictions is she ultimately leaves Osha, and she might leave Osha for dead. I'm still trying to work through the scar on Osha and where that came from. If it was May who stabbed her or did something, because Qimir heals her. So in some sense, like maybe Osha feels discarded by her sister, and then the anger and resentment of her sister grows even larger, which then gives the opportunity for her to be preyed upon and vulnerable to Qimir and to embrace the dark side. And then on the other side of the equation, I think that this conversation is again showing that Osha is a little more rigid in her beliefs, but I could see May coming around and understanding Soul's perspective of what happened on Brendok, because I think the Jedi have an untrue version of events, and I think also May has an untruth version of events, and maybe by them talking to each other and May trying to get the scoop on the Jedi actually finds out that the Jedi are just as lost and confused about what happened as she is, and then maybe there's some kind of common understanding there. But again, I think like this conversation is showing that Osha is very rigid in her beliefs about her sister, and I think therefore she has no interest in rekindling that relationship. May does, but I think Osha is going to find that flame with Qimir.
In more ways,
I think it might verge on romantic, but I think Osha is going to give into a lot of the things that she, as a Jedi, was told not to give into, and it's going to be very intoxicating for her, which will push her even further away from her sister. Whereas May does not like Qimir and wants nothing to do with him or the stranger or any of it, you know. So it'll lead to a really interesting dynamic, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna propose the opposite. What if, because the breaking point for her with Qimir was learning Osha was alive. That's what changed everything for her. But the minute Osha doesn't want anything to do with her, then what does she have? So what if she's going with Soul to kill him without a weapon and be like, Qimir, I know I screwed you over. We're Sith. That's what kind of what we do. I did what you asked me to do. Take me back. And he's like, yeah, come on, kiss my bicep.
But Basil is there.
Which, by the way, I think it's similar to what Alan is saying, because he's talking about how Osha is that anchor for May.
All right. So before we go and finish up with Qimir and Osha, real quick, after May cuts her hair, goes change her clothes, goes find Soul. Hey, let's get out of here. Basil found Pip. He's taking it back. The good tracker that he is. He's the key. I think he knows the truth. I think he's gonna use Pip to tell Soul, hey, that's the wrong person that you have there. But I think at this point, Soul is just gonna open up and believing that that's Osha, just gonna tell May the truth from his point of view. And maybe that goes to what you said, Brad, kind of changes May's perspective of what happened. And then the same thing for Osha on the other side. Qimir, no, actually, this is what happened. And now we have the real parent trap because the sisters switch sides, basically.
Yeah, Qimir is like, here's why you shouldn't trust Soul.
Yeah.
And then Soul is like, Osha, I'm telling you the truth. And May's like, oh, he's not telling May the truth to manipulate May. He thinks I'm Osha, therefore this is his truth.
Yeah.
Again, I like this.
Because it's so easy to... Yeah, the sisters just switch sides and taking everyone by fool, but switching them plus revealing something else is what's going to hopefully take this to another level.
I think Osha and May's belief system, they not only switched places, but their beliefs will swap too. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be, oh God, Osha's bad, May is good. Whereas before it was May is good, Osha was bad. They're going to, or sorry, I said that backwards, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. You are, Dottie.
There's something in the chat that I haven't noticed, and I haven't seen anyone
just
talk
one
about
thing.
it.
It's usually plenty.
Dr. Zoom is saying, someone I saw notice Qimir does not have Sith eyes. He does not have dark side corruption. Like even Kylo in Rise of Skywalker kind of looked a bit older.
I don't know. Do they have Sith eyes? I don't put too much stock into it.
I'm sorry, Dr. Zoom.
First off, thank you, Dr. Zoom, for joining us and putting your comments out there. I think I've seen that. Sorry, Sarah.
I just think that Anakin was maybe like, I just want a little change it up. Yeah.
He was wearing contacts that day when he killed Newt Gunray. He was like, I want him to remember these eyes.
Clearly, yeah.
Gotta get the orange ones in
All
there.
the lava fumes on Mustafar kind of change your eyes a little bit. But yeah, like you mentioned, Brad, you can't give him Sith eyes plus forearms and bicep like that, and it's too much. You gotta pick one. And I think the reveal of is it a Sith or not, if you give him Sith eyes, it's okay, it's obviously there. Just keep it for later. We don't need it right now. I forgot where I was going, which is fine. Oti, real quick. One of the other complaints, or not complaints, things that people are saying, they're surprised that Soul didn't notice that it was May instead of Osha. To me, he just finished up an extremely strenuous fight, lost his Padawan, lost a lot of the Jedi. He's not focused on that, right? It's fine that he didn't notice 2 minutes into it, right, Oti?
Or maybe he did, and the next episode starts like, "Sit down, you little loser. Here's what actually happened." The story needs to play out. Like,
yeah.
I find that complaint so funny because it's like, when in your life have you never misperceived events, person on the internet? Like, get real. Like, you know, it was a stressful moment. He just, like you said, Alberto, is like he lost everything in that moment. And the whole point of the show is like the Jedi's perception of reality and their version of the truth and the version of like their perception of what's around them is fogged very heavily.
I mentioned a few weeks ago, and I'm no Jedi, so I get a little pass. I have twin nephews. They're 20 years old. I still get them confused. I still do. It's just
Sarah, you were going to say something, by the way?
I think that Qimir knows that it's Osha. We flip her over and we see her tattoo so clearly. That is like an immediate tell to me. But I don't think Sol has figured it out that it's May yet. Yeah. And I think that's why we need our bestie Basil.
Basil's going to be the
sniffing. Little sniffer.
And I think that tattoo, like you mentioned, Sarah, is going to be the way that he's going to find out. Because they made a point to reference it in episode 2. They showed it again in this episode. At some point, May's going to take off the civilian jumpsuit, and he's going to notice that she doesn't have that tattoo. I think that's going to come back. Well, let's go right there, Sarah. Qimir comes, sees Osha on the floor. Kylo Ren theme notes start playing. Foils her arm, very gently moves her to his side, covers her. I didn't write down what he said. Yeah. We gotta fan those flames. Are we in another? I know everyone's shipping them already, which is fine. Ship everyone that you want. I think the Kylo Ren thing put it over the top for me, which again, shout out to everyone online because I didn't notice that. Just give me your thoughts on now this possible relationship between, again, whatever you want to call this type of relationship between Qimir as the stranger Sith, now with Osha, maybe trying to turn her to be his pupil.
I think we're meeting, that these two are meeting and coming together at a time where Osha is devastated and also really determined in her position in the world and what she thinks of other people. And so it'll be really interesting to see what sort of a mask that Qimir puts on in order to appeal to her. And the question for me is, will Osha will she play this as? I guess my question is, how will Qimir bring her in? Like, is he going to keep her as a prisoner in their ship, or is he going to let her roam about and be like, oh, you were injured, I picked you up and I brought you here, May? And will she be like, I'm not May, or I am May? So I guess my question is, what is the level of manipulation or the level of the role that Qimir will play to Osha? Will he let on that he knows that she's not May? So I think the dynamic has a lot of opportunity to be really, really compelling. I am a pro shipping anybody and everybody, so I was like, yeah, why not? Big bicep evil guy, let's go. Let's ship him with everybody. I thought that was really fun to see.
I'm not a shipper, but I don't understand why people still don't understand that this goes on, especially when you get an evil character or a dark side character that looks like that and acts like that. It's gonna be there. Accept it and just roll with it because it's fun, even from the outside. Oti, where do you fall on the Qimir, Osha, Kylo Ren themes and where that relationship or those two might go on? And then maybe next episode is where Nestor going to Kofar to look for the fallen Jedi. And we see her fighting Kylo Ren 2.0 over there.
Listen, I'm all for a good ship, but I fall here in the same place I fall with Reylo. Like, God bless you, Reylos, but Rey deserves better than boy, like that evil boy who hangs around with those dudes in motorcycles and leather jackets and blacks. No, she deserves better.
Yes, and that's that I will ship Raylo, and I will ship her with anybody else. I'll ship Ray Rose. I'll ship Finn and Ray, Finn and Ray.
Ray, Finn, Poe, and Rose.
See, this is what we're talking about. The imagination is endless here.
But yeah, I see it, and I can't wait for the fan art.
True. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like the
Biceps.
fan artists in Star Wars, so talented. They're carrying the narrative for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
The possibilities are before our eyes.
Get to work, Roberto.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, Brad, as we kind of start wrapping up, any final thoughts on this episode? And then as we head to the final 3, I'm guessing next week is kind of the fallout, of course, of what happened. Episode 7 will be the flashback to what really happened on Brenda, we hope. And then episode 8 kind of brings everything together. But just kind of your final thoughts leading into those 3 episodes.
Yeah, I think we're for episode 6. I think it's going to be a Vernestra heavy episode, and I also think that by the end of it, the parent trap will be revealed to everybody, to lead us into an episode 7 flashback episode, priming us for the finale. Whatever that may look like.
Gosh, we are really so close to the end.
Yeah, we're really close, and I'm a bit bummed about it, but hopeful and confident this show will get a season 2. But I'm also happy to know that this show, if it only is one season, Leslie was very adamant to tell a contained story, but still leave some mysteries up for the future. So that excites me for the next couple of weeks, and I know we're gonna have some sort of emotional catharsis by the end of this month or end of July. So that'll be good.
Yeah, and the finale comes out in my birthday, so I don't know if it will be
Let's go
a good gift or if I'll just be fetal position back to the womb, just crying at the end.
Yeah, hopefully better than Nor. I don't know if Norhal's still in the chat, but getting what we got on her birthday this week.
we'll have Norhal here next week, so we'll get into all that and whatever happens next week. But Sarah, like Brad said, I really hope that this show gets a second season. Leslie Headland has said that she pitched it as a multi-season show, but that she's not big on this big cliffhanger. So like Brad mentioned, it's going to be a contained season on season 1, but she has ideas for, I think, up to 3 seasons. If they let her, she'll do it forever. So I'm really hoping this show gets picked up and we learn its face pretty soon. But Sarah, again, just kind of finishing up, final thoughts on this episode, and then I don't want to say any hopes for the last 3, but are you ready? Are you ready to suffer a little bit more in the High Republic?
This episode ruined my life, and no hopes, no dreams, just High Republic.
We need some of those t-shirts.
Light and life, baby.
Those horror t-shirts.
It's down to be probably pretty devastating, but also probably pretty exciting. As much as I've been theorizing, I really don't see in my, like, for the High Republic books, like, the reason we have egg talk is because we see an end game. And we say, this is the theory to our end game, and have attached ourselves to that so much. So if it doesn't pan out, I mean, like, I'll live, but and I'll be fine, but it'll be really funny. But for this, I don't know what the end game looks like. So I have no thoughts about it. I'm just ready for Tuesday.
Yeah. 3 days away. We'll find out so much close in this next episode. I have a bunch of theories, and like Oti knows, much of my theories are usually wrong, and most of mine got wrong in that first episode because I said there's no way they're twins. They're twins, and we're going with it, so it's fine. Oti, again, haven't spoken with you in a while. I know you've been enjoying the show so far, but 3 episodes, we're almost there.
Yeah. Can't wait till it's over and I know the whole story and have to wait years for another season. Yay.
Feeling.
Yeah. This episode broke my heart. It also made me very happy. So yeah, I just can't wait for more. If they continue to break my heart and make me happy, awesome.
Yeah, I've watched this episode like 3 times already, and I think that when I watched it again this morning, this has to be up there one of my favorite Star Wars TV episodes ever. We'll see how it falls out, the show in general. But this episode just hitting not just the action, but I think the emotions behind it, the story they was telling, everything worked. And then just setting everything up. A lot of questions out there for the next three is going to be great. All right, so with that, we kind of start bringing an end to our show. Huge thanks to our friends, our guests, Sarah and Brad from the Force Friends podcast. Thanks for being here. Sorry, Friends of the Force podcast. Thank you again for being here. Guys, follow them. Egg Talk is awesome. And they have great interviews with other Star Wars creators and writers and everything out there. So you can follow and check everything they have out there.
Yeah, thank you again for having us. This was a load of fun. So what an episode to discuss this week.
Yeah, I mean, you guys lucked out. You lucked out.
Yeah,
and we lucked
well.
out having you guys here. So again, thanks Sarah, thanks Brad, thanks to Alan, Dale. I'll try to get everyone else in the chat. I want Dr. Zoom, Norhal, obviously Subdude, Friends of the Force, because they're in the chat. Also, Rebeldes de la Fuerza, Tigger, Mo, The Avengers Rising. Sorry we didn't get to your comments. Everyone else I was in the chat, if I miss you, I'm sorry, but thanks for being here. Oti, I guess I forgot, but where can people find you?
You can find me at whatever it says down there at any social media.
Yeah. Check it out. Same thing, Brad and Sarah. You can Friends of the Force. I'll have your contact info on the show notes or whatever you call this on YouTube. I forget, but give them a follow. All right, and like I mentioned before, make sure to be here on Wednesday. We're gonna having a great chat with Tessa Gratos. It'll be a lot of fun. So join us. Special episode Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday, we'll be back with our regular Acolyte recaps with our friend Norhal. We'll be here and we'll see what happens. Andrew Wendes, smash that like. And thank you, Andrew, for being here. Alan also he has a July birthday. So happy birthday, Alan.
And Alberto.
Jesus Christ. See you guys next week on Wednesday. Stay safe. Be safe. May the Force be with you. Otis hungry. I forgot. I gotta hit end stream. There we go.